Greetings to you wherever you are in this world. This is Michelle Strickland, and I'm coming to you today with my live show, Kicking It On the Chase with Chelle. Um, an opportunity for adults to get together from all over the world to talk about any topics they want to talk about, whether it relates to dating, family, home, love, whatever. I just want it to be done in a clean way. I want to develop this channel into a place where we can share community resources from all over the world. Maybe you know about a resource in your area or community that you can share. Maybe somebody in your community will be live eventually, and they can be able to benefit from that. I'm going to also build it into an opportunity where we can create resources for people if they need some help. We can guide them to where they need to be guided to get the help that they want. I also want to be a mentor for you. If you have any concerns or questions, if you just need to talk to somebody, I would like to be a mentor for you. I left 2 email addresses where you can reach out to me if you have any questions or if you just need to talk to somebody for a few minutes. I left 2 email addresses that you can contact me on my under my description under the channel information. That gives you a basic information about who I am and my background. I think that I do need to, when I get some time or feel up to it, there's some information that I didn't add, and this when I worked in pharmaceutics. So when I feel up to it, I'll add that information so you can get an idea of the background that I have had professionally. I really want to create an opportunity for people to have a place where they can come and interact with other folks and not be concerned about being judged. You know, I know right now I'm a one-man show, but I'm going to keep showing up on Saturdays. If I change the date, I'll let you know. I have other videos that I release through the week. Sundays, I'll release PSA announcements. Tuesdays, I'll have social skills lessons. I don't have so many of those, so there'll be after I get to the end of each lesson, there might be a week or so in between. Then I'll restart them. And what I'm going to do with the PSAs and the social skills lessons is just rotate them. They'll be the same lessons, but I'm just going to rotate them and repeat them over and over and over again, because those are the types of things that everybody can benefit from. You can brush up on it or just be reminded of some things that you already know, but you might just need to be reminded of it. I also am starting a series. It's let's see, what's it called? I'm going to be starting a series, Conversation with Self. I put out a video today, but I think I'm going to pick a day through the week that I'm going to release it. So that's going to be something that's going to be new. And then I also on Thursdays, this past Thursday, it'll be Survival Tips Thursday. So on Thursdays, I'll just kind of go over some survival tips that everyone can benefit from and that you need to be aware of just in case of emergency or disaster. You want to be prepared. So I'm going to, give you some things to think about. So also through the week, I do meditations. Usually in the mornings. Sometimes if I have something to do, I may not get to it till later in the day, but I have my theology lesson that I video record and I just release it. It's my meditation, but I release it because maybe somebody can get something out of it. So I release it for that purpose. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I'm not a zealot, but I do this. I love to study theology because it just keeps me grounded. A lot of those stories that you find in those religious texts, they discuss the dysfunctions and they discuss the good principles and give you good suggestions on how you should live your life. You get good examples from it. So that's just something that I like to do personally. I did order a Buddhist text last week, so I'm waiting on that, and so I'm going to also incorporate that. So I'll be touching on the Torah, which are the first few books of the Bible, which deal with the Hebrews, and then the Old Testament, the New Testament, and I'm going to come from the Quran, and then I'm going to incorporate a Buddhist text. So that's something because I want to hear everybody's point of view. I don't want to just hear one side of the story. I want to hear from everybody's perspective, And what I found so far is that most of the texts kind of support each other. They pick up where the other one left off, and they have the same types of principles, love, peace, and what this and they give examples of what happens when people don't follow instructions, um, unfortunately, it discusses disasters too, from natural to man-made, and we deal with those things and see those things happening every day here, and on the world that we live in. I just want to do a shout out for all those who are suffering in conflicts all over the world. It makes me sorrowful to see that, especially when I see the children suffering. But hopefully, this channel, and once I develop some other things down the line, that I'll eventually connect. I'm a humanitarian, and I want to be able to eventually branch out and do humanitarian work. So that's something, I just retired a year and a half ago. I didn't really plan to come onto YouTube, but the Heavenly Host really urged me to come out here 8 weeks ago. I think it's going on 9 weeks. And so, I'm glad that I did it. So I'm at the beginning stage and phase of everything that I'm doing right now. So it's going to take a while. I heard an interesting thing from a content influencer on YouTube. Now I haven't verified this, and I'm going to go online and I'm going to look it up. But I heard it just before I came live, and she was mentioning that the first year Coca-Cola, I guess, released Coke, that they only sold one bottle. She said the second year was like 2, maybe 3. I don't know. So I'm not going to give up. I know that I'm a one-man show right now, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to stay consistent with this, and I'm going to still allow myself to be a mentor for you, for anyone that comes across this channel and needs to talk to somebody. I'm here to listen. If it's not something that is within my reach, then maybe I could just refer you somewhere in your area where you can get the help that you need. Eventually, once I get the channel built up and I have people that are participating, I'll begin to reach out for corporate sponsorships for different things. So it'll be an opportunity for us to create opportunities that corporations may have to offer. That's down the line. Right now, it's at the very beginning, and there's no sense for me to reach out when I don't have the subscribers or the followers or whatever, or chat, or anybody in chat. And as I mentioned, this chat, I want it to be where anybody can come on and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Maybe you be chatting and you might meet somebody that you're interested in getting to know on a more personal level. But I just want you to be real careful of that if you decide to do that, and just always make sure that if you do decide to do something like that, that you safeguard yourself, And I have been talking about things like that in some of my other videos, require them to do FaceTime with you. That doesn't, they got apps where you can do that for free. That's not asking too much. You want people to validate and verify who they are. You want to see where they're living, and kind of how they live if you're not in the same area that they're in. If they can't reach out to you and do FaceTime or text you or call you and show you who they are, then chances are they're in committed relationships, or they're married, and you don't want to get yourself caught up with something like that, and then maybe they just aren't real serious about you, and they're leading and stringing you along. I think they call it catfishing or whatever now, where they're pretending that they're interested and you're not. They're just trying to get something out of you. So, but just please be careful of that. Don't ever send anybody money. But these past few weeks that I've been going live, I've been just kind of talking about dating tips. And so the song that defined this week was by Chaka Khan, "I'm Every Woman." And I kind of feel like that for myself because I've had to be my everything. I'm divorced, but I've had to, even when I was divorced, before my divorce, when I was, still married, I worked. I did want to be a homemaker, but it just didn't work out for me like that. And I had to get out there and work. And luckily, I finished college and stuff like that. And I always worked my way through uh, and I worked my way into opportunities along the way when I was studying, and I kept 2 and 3 jobs, when I even when I was in college, and I had to finish up college when I had my sons. So they're used to seeing a parent that was out there working, so I kind of feel like I'm every woman. I can never be a man and teach my sons how to be a man, but I can teach them how to be a good person. And so, I'm really blessed that because I had standards and boundaries for them, and I stood on that they became really good individuals, and I don't have to worry about them. I felt very blessed that I have very dependable stand-up men for sons, and they have wives in there, and they're just really respectable guys, and so I felt very proud for that. Having boundaries is very important. It can be, sometimes people don't always understand your boundaries, but if you have them, that's a good thing, because you want to deal with quality people. I noticed that whenever I dropped my boundaries and allowed people to have access to me that weren't really maybe up to par with where I was at, it was disastrous. And I'll never do that again. I'll never go against my better judgment again, and just overlook all the warning signs, because usually we have warning signs. So never just be foolish and hasty. Make people validate and verify who they are, and make sure that when they're pursuing you, that they're the kind of people that you would want to be involved with. But people need to work their way into your life, and validate and show that they are interested in you by putting forth the effort, by doing the work. So, ladies, because this, last week it was the guys that I focused on first, and the song last week was James Brown, "It's a Man's World." So that's why I decided this week to use the for the week the song by Chaka Khan, "I'm Every Woman," to define the week, because I wanted the ladies to feel comfortable and know that I haven't forgotten you, and that sometimes we have to be everything. So anyway, so with that being said, I'm just going to give you some little tips for us, dating women as a single woman. When you're dating somebody during the dating process, and you've been asked to go out on a date, and he doesn't come and pick you up or whatever. When you're to meet him somewhere, be punctual. Arrive on time for your date to show respect for the other person's time. Dress appropriately. Ladies, don't overdo it. I know you want to be cute and all this and that, but just, have some dignity about yourself when you're dressing, and be appropriate with it. Choose an outfit that is suitable for the occasion and the venue. If you're going to a really nice restaurant, don't dress in jeans. Just kind of dress up and stuff, but just don't be too provocative. Because we all know what I'm saying on that. Maintain good hygiene. Ensure you're clean and well groomed. I mean, please, ladies, make sure for that. No, there's nothing worse. There would be nothing worse than being with somebody that's stinky, man. No, don't do that. Make yourself fresh and all of that in every way. Smile and make eye contact with him. You don't have to overdo it, but just make sure that you're showing him that you're paying attention to what he's saying to you. By maintaining eye contact, you're showing that you're engaged and interested in whatever he's talking about. Offer a sincere compliment. Don't overdo that either, but if find an opportunity to compliment him. It helps to break the ice, and it can make your date feel appreciated. If he's handsome, I'll tell a guy, if you're handsome, if a guy's handsome, that's all. I mean, it's okay to me. I don't see anything wrong with telling a guy they're handsome. I say, you're handsome guy, and just leave it like that. Hopefully you don't get a big swollen head behind it and want to go overboard. Practice active listening. Show genuine interest in what your date is saying to you. Avoid oversharing. Don't talk too much about who you dated in the past a lot. Don't do too much of that. I'm not saying don't talk about it, but don't overshare, especially if it didn't work out. Not right off the bat, just say it didn't work out and just keep that real brief, you know. Avoid overuse of technology. Don't be on your phone when you are on the date. That'll give somebody the impression that you maybe you're texting some other guy or something like that. Keep your phone away to focus on your date. It's that simple, you know. Be mindful of your body language. Maintain open and welcoming posture. Go online and look at that. Is very important. There's nothing worse than some slouchy person just all slouchy. Watch how you present yourself. You can go online, and if you haven't had training on how to stand and how to sit, go online and look at ways, proper ways to stand and sit. Believe it or not, there are techniques for that. Respect personal space. Don't invade your date's personal bubble. You got to be kind of careful with that. Just kind of take it easy and just kind of see how things go. Be mindful of your manners. Say please and thank you when it's appropriate. Avoid controversial topics. Steer clear of sensitive subjects like politics or religion. Be careful of that, because some people just lose it when you talk about either one of those, if they don't have the same thinking and beliefs that you do. Show gratitude. Express appreciation for the time you spent together, whether you want to see him again or not. At least show that you appreciate that he's took the time out to spend with you. A lot of guys don't even want to do that. This will take you straight to the bedroom, and just bypass everything else, getting to know you, all of that. Mind your manners. Say please and thank you when it's appropriate. I think I said that one. Show gratitude. Express appreciation for the time you spent together. I said that one. Be kind to the wait staff, please. Don't act like you're better than them. Looking all down on them and all this and that and snipping and snapping at them. Because a lot of times them waiters and waitresses, they in college, or they studying, they might be in med school, or they might be business owners starting their own business. They might have more education and degrees than you, but they're just doing something for fast money. So never do that. I used to do stuff like that. I used to work doing jobs like that, and I had 2 degrees, and I was just doing it part-time or something for the extra money or whatever, or I was in college or whatever the situation was. So don't ever try to act like you're better than the wait staff. You don't want to do that. Be authentic. Be yourself and let your true personality shine through. Don't be over the top with it. And don't be too loud, Don't let everybody hear your conversation. That's obnoxious and it's rude, It doesn't show any class. Just kind of, have your voice at a level where he can hear you. You don't want everybody to hear your conversation, Don't dominate the conversation, just be reserved. Say something and then stop. And, see if he's going to say something. And then sometimes it's okay to have silence, if you're not both talking at the same, it's okay, but just be authentic with it. Ask open-ended questions, encourage deeper conversation, but just watch it with that. But, I think we can kind of understand what I'm talking about on that. Be supportive, show interest in your date's passions and goals. Ask them what they like to do, and then kind of feed off of that and lead it into, let one topic lead into the next topic and stuff like that, Avoid excessive alcohol consumption. Be careful with that when you're going on your first dates and stuff like that, especially if you don't really know the person. You don't want to be, in a situation where you can't manage yourself, and then you're stuck with some person that you don't know who they are, and things might not go the way you would like for them to go. So just be real cautious of that. Nobody's saying don't have, a drink or so or two or whatever, but just be careful with that. Make sure you don't go over the top with it so you don't remember and, don't know what you're doing. Offer to split the bill. That's something that you want to make sure of before you even order. Because if you don't, what if the person you went out with, they don't have the money or something? That happened to me. I went out with somebody and I never, thank God I've had 2 jobs and I worked and I could pay for it. But, we got to the end. Thank God I didn't order some ridiculous thing, but I could have paid for it because I make sure when I go out, I make sure I have the money to pay for my own stuff just in case. But I went out with somebody like that one time and I was so shocked by that. But that was way back when guys, carried the bill. I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, guys. But, I was just like, wow, what? Yeah, needless to say, we didn't last long for that because he waited till the end and said it. I'm like, you could have just said that at the beginning, or before we even went on the date or whatever, no problem. I paid my stuff. That's why don't be careful about that. Make sure you have some money on you, and when you get to ordering, you better make sure that you have money for that, or make sure that you're clear on how that's the arrangement, whether he's going to pay for it or whether you got to pay for your own stuff. Make sure you be tactful about it. I went through something like that and I was like, what? It didn't last long, but look, I worked, so I could pay for my own stuff. So be mindful of that. Follow up after the date. If you had a good time, let the date know that you had a good time. It's that simple. Okay. So that's some tips for you. Now I'm going to focus on the guys for a few minutes. I talked about a few things with them. Some of the stuff is the same. The guys, you can some of the things that I talked about with the ladies is the same for you. Show empathy, be understanding and supportive of your date's feelings and experiences, and pay attention to what she's saying, Don't just look at her. If she's a gorgeous girl, that's fine, but just keep your senses about you and pay attention to what she's saying, Keep the conversation balanced. Don't dominate the conversation or let it become one-sided. You don't have to tell her how your girlfriend treated you and all this and that. The ex one. Hopefully it's an ex one. Just be minimal with how much information you give out about that. Be confident, not arrogant. Guys, don't be over the top with your puffed up arrogance. Don't do that. Just act normal. Don't be arrogant. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. So don't be arrogant. Just act normal, Respect time limits. If your date has to leave early, respect their schedule. As simple as that. Some people, have to be at work. Some people work on the weekends, or if they're going out on a date with you through the week, and they got to get up in the morning, just respect that. Even if you're having a good time, they have to leave early. Just, be respectful of that. Be mindful of your alcohol consumption too, guys. Just don't go over the top and then get to doing too much or saying too much. Know your limits and be responsible. Okay. Respect boundaries. If your date isn't comfortable with something, respect that. It's simple. She may not be comfortable with you putting your arm around her when you first meet. Just kind of be careful how you gauge stuff. Be genuine. Authenticity is attractive. Be yourself and not who you think they want you to be. She went out on a date with you because of who you appear to be when she met you, before you made arrangements for that initial date. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Be supportive. Offer encouragement for your date's goals and aspirations. If she's telling you what some of the things that she's wanting to do in the future, just listen and just be encouraging of that, because we never know who we're talking to and who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. So be careful how you perceive somebody. You can't just look at somebody and say, oh yeah, no, you ain't going to make it, because you never know who's going to make it. You never know who's going to make it and come up. Practice good table manners. Chew your food with your mouth closed. That's silly, but there's some people that don't know how to act, you know. Know your fork and knife placements and things of that sort, and your spoons and, stuff like that. Avoid negative body language, guys, you know. No eye rolling, crossing arms, or other defensive gestures. Be careful doing this here move, Be careful with that, guys, because that could be defensive for a guy. I'm not saying, you know, uh, just be careful of that. That could be a defensive move. Women can see that as kind of a defense move when they don't know you. Okay. Be mindful of personal space. Same thing. She might not want you putting your arm around her or grabbing her by their arm or whatever, or back or whatever. She might not want you touching her right off the bat. So just be mindful of that. Don't compare. Avoid, mentioning ex-partners or comparing your date to others. Don't do that. Oh my God. That's the worst thing somebody could do. Oh, you remind me of my ex and she did this and that, and then have a scowl on your face. Please don't do that. Or even if you say, oh, you remind me of my ex, she did this and you thought it was a great thing. But most of us don't want to be compared to another woman, okay? Even if it's something good. We want to be an individual. So just keep that in mind, okay? Don't interrupt. Allow your date to finish speaking before you respond, okay? Offer help. If your date needs assistance, then offer it graciously, whatever the situation is. That's just common sense on that one. Stay engaged, avoid distractions, and stay present in the moment. Don't be looking I'm not saying don't look at other people and be normal, but if you see some other hot chicks, in the same space, don't be staring them up and down and stuff like that, giving them indication that you're interested when you're on a date with somebody. That's a turn off. Don't do that. All right. So I'm going to give you a few ideas for healthy flirting. I had mentioned making eye contact, smile genuinely, active listening, use positive body language, compliment the person sincerely. I mentioned that. That's a nice way to flirt with somebody without being over sexual. That's what this is about. Compliment sincerely, find common interest if you can. Use light touches. Be careful with that, but just use light touches. If you're interested, if somebody you're interested in, just use, and you think that it's like mutual, just use light touches, to let them know that you're kind of interested. But just be careful of that, though. Be mindful of the personal space. I mentioned that. Use ask open-ended questions. I mentioned that. Be supportive and encouraging. Be authentic. Stay present and engaged. Text thoughtfully. Use emoji sparingly when you're like texting or emailing. Don't go overboard with it. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody that use emojis and just does it too much. We all seen other people online. They just go overboard with all of the emojis. Get out of here. What does that mean? What is 20 smiley faces? What's that supposed to represent? Or whatever the emoji is. Why? And the memes too. Watch the memes that you use, because people can take the memes the wrong way too. So just be careful of that. When you decide to like talk to somebody or text them or email them or so, share interesting, content, and respect the digital boundaries. Avoid being overly forward or explicit in online conversations. That's why whenever people get to start chatting and stuff like that, I just want to keep check, clean. And I won't be reading most of the time. I'll just be monitoring and just interacting with everybody. But at any rate, I'm going to end it here. I just want everybody to know that I appreciate any time that you will spend with me, even though it's going to be after the fact of my live. I'm going to continue to come live. If it takes me two years to generate, people, become familiar with me, that's just what it's going to take. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to release content through the week. This is not going to be the only thing that I do. This is just something that I do as a community service. Eventually, I'll connect a store and some other things after the first of the year to the page that people can take advantage of. And I'll explain whatever the links will be once I get to that point after the first of the year. But anyway, I just want to thank you for spending your time with me. And I want you to remember to smile this day anyway and reach out to one person at a time, one person at a time, one person at a time. Okay?